Hello, welcome to a new episode of Rants with Danny Sheet. Today is February 7th. I know it feels like it's a regular occurrence now. I'm sorry, it's been so long. It's been very long. It's been over 2 months. I moved into a new place. It took a lot to find a new place, to assign a new place, to move to the new place. There was Christmas, there was more excuses, there was a trade show. We have our hands-on meeting soon, so I was doing all of the PowerPoint for work, and it's just been a lot, and it's a lot. And this week was, especially at the end of the week, today's a Saturday, February 7th, was like, oh, finally I got time to, and the energy to sit down and think about, I was sitting down, I was like, oh, I really, this weekend, I can do my podcast. I can think about other things, and it was just about a 8 to 10 week period. It was just like there was no energy for stuff like this, or there's at least no time or no space for thought. But today was a perfect timing, actually, in terms of finally freeing up space over the weekend, because the World Baseball Classic roster got revealed just 2 nights ago on Thursday. The new World Baseball Classic rosters across all of the entire tournament got revealed. Taiwan, obviously, as well. Chinese Taipei, Team Taiwan. I'm not going to be here and tell you which one to say. I'm going to call it Team Taiwan on this podcast. It's just easier to say. The other names, 3-4 syllables. This one is 3. It's just same thing to me, but I'm very excited now, honestly, looking at this roster, and I'm looking at it very cautiously. 2023 World Baseball Classic put me through a roller coaster that it got me doing a podcast every 24 hours. If you were there during that time, it was a lot of stuff to process in real time, going from losing to Panama. And I remember saying before the tournament, I don't really care how you do against Italy, the Netherlands, Cuba. We could go 1-3, but just beat Panama, because we, just dug ourselves out of the hole, finally hosting the World Baseball Classic for the first time in a decade. Just beat Panama and let's see what happens. We lose to Panama. We almost got knocked out by mercy rule against Panama. And it looked like the world was black and white, and there was really not much hope. But we were down. We were almost getting mercy ruled until Wu Nianting hits a solo homer that makes it 4-13. And not only that, we as Taiwanese fans had to take 2 days to process it, because we had a day off on the following day, and then there was 3 back-to-back games, and then you have the highest of highs of beating Italy, a very star-studded Italy team. And then you somehow beat the Dutch, who are as good in terms of talent. And you're thinking, and you look at the time we're Pool A, right? So you're looking at, wait a minute. If we go on and we beat Cuba, we advance to the second round as the first place, as ranked number 1 in our group. And we go face Australia, which historically has been, I don't want to say easy, but historically Taiwan has not had a lot of trouble beating Australia. And then you're thinking, we just have to go and beat Australia, and then we have a shot to go to Miami and play against the best of the best in the semifinals. Just like the playbook for the Premier 12, but that obviously happened 18 months after this World Baseball Classic. But no, we go on and we lose to Imagine, I'm going to sit here today and tell you that I'm still very hung up in this. Imagine if we had beaten Panama, like, not that we were supposed to, because we did lose by a lot and Panama deserved the win. But imagine if we had beaten Panama like people expected. I think in terms of talent, in terms of as a baseball playing nation, we can agree that Taiwan should have beaten Panama. We don't beat Panama, and then we lose to Cuba after going back to back in the third of a back to back schedule, and the third game was just like 12 hours after the previous one. They had no break, they had no rest. Taiwan didn't, and it was brutal. And I can't. Every time I think about that tournament, it's just, what happens if we had beaten Panama? We go into the quarterfinals facing Australia, again, in which we had historically we had dominated that series. I mean, look, the French, like the Dutch, beaten us a couple times. Freaking Israel has beaten us in the World Baseball Classic, killed us. But Australia has been that team so far, at least. Hopefully, the tradition continues. But traditionally, Taiwan doesn't. We face Australia a lot, almost as often as anybody else outside of Japan and Korea, because obviously in the same region we face each other all the time in all these tournaments. Australia is like the fourth. I don't want to say it's not like the stepchild of Asian baseball, because you do have a mainland China in there. But Australia, we face a lot. Japan likes to invite Australia to some of the regional tournaments, and Taiwan historically has not lost to Australia a ton. So let's say you beat Australia, and it's in Japan. It's in Tokyo. It's again in Tokyo, unless again you're facing the host nation with Japan. Normally when you're playing somebody else, you have at least some sort of a quasi-home environment, just like you see in the Premier 12 in the medal rounds. You're playing in Japan, you're going to have way more supporters than Australia had. You've never tumbled against Australia historically, and you had a trip to Miami on the line. Imagine if we hadn't lost to Panama. And we lost to Panama in game 1. And the highest of highest and the lowest of lows, you march on to 2025, where fresh off the gold medal of the Premier 12, the first world championship in the history of Taiwan at the helm of professional baseball or adult baseball. 3 months go by. It's the World Baseball Classic. Because you lost to Panama, and because you gave up so many runs in the previous World Baseball Classic, you have to start in the qualifiers because you finished last, despite everybody being 2-2, and you had to start in the qualifiers, and you face off against Spain, Nicaragua, and South Africa. Taiwan, as a baseball playing nation, had to face off against Spain, South Africa, and Nicaragua. Nothing against any of those teams, because we've seen how 2 of those 3 teams did end up beating Taiwan in the qualifiers. But Taiwan, as a baseball playing nation, had to go into the qualifiers for the second time in the history of the World Baseball Classic. I don't know how. I think people outside of Taiwan don't know this, but Taiwan had got eliminated within first 24 hours of the tournament back in 2009, after losing to Korea and China back to back, and then having to play in the qualifiers for 2012. For the 2013 World Baseball Classic, I don't remember a lot from that particular qualifier, except the fact that we played against the Philippines in the Philippines, and we killed that qualifier as we were supposed to. Not again, no disrespect to the baseball playing nations that play in the qualifiers, but Taiwan being ranked right now, we're ranked number 2. We can debate how real that is, but there's no way Taiwan should ever be in a qualifier for a tournament that has 20 teams, 20 nations participating. Taiwan should never have to play for a qualifier again. Look, swear to God, if we end up being 0-3, 0-4 this year and have to play in the qualifier again, I don't know what to do with myself, because that's just down the line. Anyway, Taiwan having to having to host the qualifiers, coming off of a gold medal campaign, and plays Spain first, and again almost got mercy ruled. I think we did get mercy. I don't even want to know the score. I think we got mercy ruled. Next game, we beat South Africa. Again, no disrespect to South Africa, but that was expected. I think not even in that particular group, South Africa is considered one of the worst team out of the 4, the least talented team. So justifiably, we beat South Africa, and to Taiwan's credit, because the final group game didn't really mean much to us. Even if we had beat Nicaragua, we wouldn't have gotten the first ticket. So we just kind of not gave up, but we kind of took it as a warm-up game, a tune-up game for the final elimination game against Spain. But we did lose to Nicaragua. I think it was like 6-0. It was one of those, like, look, we probably, again, as fans, we go in there thinking not that we want to lose the game, but it doesn't really matter the result, but at least put up put up a fight after a very unconvincing performance against Spain. And then we go out and we got blanked out. We got blanked. And then 2 days later, elimination. I swear to God, I still remember driving to work. Not even driving to work, because I remember the game was a Tuesday, U.S. time, and there was, again, a 48-hour period, a window between the final group game, because that happened on a Sunday, and the elimination game, which happened on a Tuesday, all U.S. Eastern time. And remember that Sunday, driving to grocery stores, and I think in my head, I swear to God, I would not know what to do with myself if Taiwan doesn't beat Spain. I swear to God, if Taiwan doesn't beat Spain, I don't know what I would do to myself. The thought of it was so depressing, and it was very plausible. Now you're thinking back, you're like, oh, Taiwan, you look at, Taiwan's in the tournament in the WBC. That was supposed to happen. We, qualified as was supposed to. No, not really. Even the final game, in the 7th inning, Spain had winning runs coming to the plate. Well, not winning runs, at least leading. I mean, not winning runs. What do you call them? Leader, like score leading runs. Not a tying run. You have the tying run and the run that would make them take the lead. Not necessarily game winning, because you wouldn't have known what would happen after they taken the lead, but they had tying runs and game leading runs. I don't know if that, again, I don't know. That was coming to hit. And Taiwan uses back-to-back 94, 95, 96 miles per hour fastballs to get past Spain, which you watch as Taiwanese baseball fans, and it's very entertaining. It's very the fact that you're blowing past the Spanish hitters was very satisfying to watch. But those were, again, 94, 95, 96 mile per hour fastballs. And they, at the end of the day, Taiwan just decided, screw this, catch up if you can. If you watch the final inning, it was fastball. There wasn't a single breaking ball in there. And you watch how the Spanish hitters reacted. The first hitter was like, it's like in Major, the Japanese anime, baseball anime. It was like, there's no way you're just throwing fastballs. And we were just throwing fastballs. And then by the final hitter, the hitter was like, you're serious? You're really going to disrespect us like that? You're really just gonna throw fastballs? I'm gonna time it up. He couldn't time it up, and he was late on every single one of those pitches. And again, to Taiwan's credit, we at that point in the tournament, again, this was coming off of Premier 12, and then going into the qualifier, and then we consciously decided to pick a whole new group of players for the Premier 12, which for the qualifier, which makes perfect sense. There's no disrespecting the qualifier, because if you look at the rosters, it was not A and B team. It was if you compare the two rosters, those are equally talented. In fact, I could argue the qualifier roster was more talented on the top end than the Premier 12 talent, but it still took us 4 games. And to Taiwan's credit, at that point of the tournament where you've used up to 70 up to 80 players in your national team pool at that point in the offseason, you could still throw out 3 guys in the final game. It was Xu Ruoxi who started, Sun Yilei who came in and diffused the jam, and Zheng Junyue to close it out. At that point in your offseason, you've used up 80 players in your stockpile, and you could still throw out 3 guys that could throw 94, 95, which at least in Taiwan standard is the top-notch velocity. In Japan, that's doable. You need to mix it up with something else. But you could still do that, and you could still power through. You could still showcase your talent discrepancy between yourself and a Spanish squad, which was very good. But if you can't hit 95, you're not in the World Baseball. You shouldn't be in the World Baseball Classic. So that's my point. As good as we were, and as deservedly qualified as we were, you gotta understand, and we all gotta understand as Taiwanese fans, 94, 95, 96 mile per hour fastballs, which are some of the best fastballs that we can send out there right now, maybe 98, 97, 97, 98 right now, okay? So some of the AA guys that we're going to bring out to the World Baseball Classic, as good as we are, as fast as we can throw it, those only gets you the ticket. Those are not, if you just throw fastballs in there in the World Baseball Classic, you're not going to be very successful. That only allows you to qualify. That gives you the qualification of participating but not succeeding. And that's my point today. You can look at our roster. You can look at how many minor league baseball players we have, how talented they are on paper, how many flamethrowers there are, how many Jonathan Long, Li Haoyu, Xu Ruoxi, Gu Ling. You can talk about all the talent you want. The World Baseball Classic is never about top-end talent. It's never been. If it was, the U.S. would have been back-to-back winners. But they've always came short in the semifinals and quarterfinals besides that one year in 2017. Why? They've had really good top-end talent. I mean, some of the guys that they send out there at the top level, especially hitting on the hitting side. Last year they had, in the final inning, it was Trey Turner, Mookie Betts, Mike Trout, right? But you start looking at the bullpen. Start looking at the 3rd and 4th starter on those Team USA teams. There is a pretty big drop-off. If USA has a true all-star team, that team would have been star-studded from the top to the bottom of that lineup. From the starting guy to the last guy on the bench. But it's always been top-end talent's very good. This year they have Aaron Judge. This year they have Paul Skeens. I get it. I was looking, maybe I just don't follow MLB enough, but start looking at their bullpen guys. It's pretty pedestrian, just like many at the MLB level. I'm not talking about compared to like the Czechians or the Taiwanese or the Australians, but at the MLB level, pretty pedestrian stuff. Pretty pedestrian level players. Coming back to Taiwan. Same thing. This year we have more top talent than we've had in a very long time. Possibly 2004, the Athens Olympics, when we had Hong Chi Kuo, who ended up who ended up becoming an all-star in 2010 in Major League Baseball. You had Chien-Ming Wang, the back-to-back 19-win starting pitcher for the Yankees. You have Cao Jinghui, who was becoming a relief pitcher for the Rockies. You have Chen Jingfeng, the first Major League Baseball player in Taiwanese baseball history. You had Peng Zhengmin. You had all of those guys. That was the most talented team we had at the time. And we couldn't finish the deal. We did not make it to the semifinals. We lost to Japan. And 2013, Chien-Ming Wang, Hong Chi-Kuo all came back, albeit at the latter half of their careers, probably past their prime. You had the absolute best players coming out of the CPBL to support this team at the campaign at the time because of the CPBL needing a boost from their international tournament. And you go out there, you beat Australia, you beat the Dutch, which, by the way, in 2013, the nationality rules wasn't this relaxed. It's not like if one of your grandparents was from this country, you could go represent them. At the time, it was still very much... It wasn't as strict as the Olympics, but it was still stricter than it is now. 2017 was when they really opened up the barn. 2013, I mean, Andrew Jones played for the Dutch, but it's not like now where Aroldis Chapman was going to play for the British. You know what I'm saying? So again, the Dutch has beaten us in the past, even before 2013, but it was still a Dutch team you would think Taiwan would have beaten. And then you go out and you start your tournament 2-0, and then you go out there and lose 3 straight games. You lost to Korea, but you still eliminated Korea because they lost to the Dutch at the time. Imagine if they didn't lost to the Dutch, and you're gonna go into the second round facing Cuba, stuff which ended up mercy ruled us. Lost to Japan after losing to Korea at the time. You were down to the final strike. They tied the game up next inning. They win the game. But that was arguably the most talented World Baseball Classic team we've put out there, and still ended up losing the quarterfinals, still losing more games than we had won. We finished up that tournament 2-3. 2017 was a nightmare. 2023 is a nightmare. Not really a nightmare, but again, very high highs and very low lows in 2023. It's never about the top end talent. The World Baseball Classic, looking at the pitch count restrictions, looking at the pitch count restrictions, that alone, right? The depth means everything in the World Baseball Classic, even more than the Premier 12. So, before I go into the roster, which again I've been on a very long tangent already. It's been 23 minutes. I haven't really talked about the roster yet, but this tournament has not done Taiwan well at all. At all. We've done so horrible in this tournament that justifiably, because we are, in theory, in the eyes of the tournament, we are right now the last team in our division, in our group, because we did come from the qualifiers. We did have to qualify. We've done so bad that the WBC scheduled warm-up games, they gave us Japanese Second Army teams. And again, it's justifiable because we came from the qualifiers. But think about that. As Taiwan is a baseball playing nation, by the rules of the World Baseball Classic, needs easier teams to warm up to because they don't want to send the best of the Japanese teams out there to face off the worst team in the group. in the past in the past when we've had the best talent for a national team, that's when the the results don't. And I'm not talking about like I'm not talking about like losing in the finals or losing in a semifinal. So you had the best team. No, no, no. It's you get knocked out in the group stage, or you lose to a team you're not supposed to lose to. Now you have a make or break game against like a Japan that your best team out there is giving them a shot. But man, like if you hadn't then lost the game you're not supposed to lose to, like just like the Panama game, if you didn't lose to Panama, you would not have put yourself in a situation you had to beat Cuba of a back to back in game 3 of a back to back to back series. But because you lose to teams you're not supposed to lose to, because you fall off a cliff here and there, because I'm telling you right now, I'm going on Twitter and I'm looking at people saying Taiwan is a sleeper team. Stop. I can't think about that. It's just they've hurt us so much. And history has shown that when our best teams are out there, man, it hurts you even more because the expectations get higher. Look, the Premier 12, nobody had any expectations. No one. Because that team on paper is so bad. On paper. That roster came out and we're like, where's Gu Lingrui? Where's Xu Ruoxi? Where's even Zheng Jun? Even Zheng Jun is not up there. Now, Yu Cheng not playing week 8 at the time because he was going through an injury. All of the none of the minor league baseball guys came back justifiably because we were thinking we need to save them for the qualifier. But you're watching the Premier 12 at the roster at the time, you're like, why are we bringing like 3 shortstops? Why is Jiang Guohao on that team? Why is what's his name? The I can't think of his name right now. Why is the closer on the Dragons on that team? Why is Huang Ensi on that team? Like, what? With no expectations. And then we go on and win the gold medal. It's this, and then the 2008 Olympics, we send the CPBL's best, and we go on and lose to China. Taiwan as a baseball playing territory, country, however you call it, lost to China in the Olympics. China. And then we lost to China again in the World Baseball Classic in 2009. Now, there was a lot of politics in 2009, 2017 that I don't want to get into. The CPBL did not send a lot of players to the 2019, but lost to China. Twice within like a 10-month period. Taiwan is a baseball country, a baseball playing country. Lost to China twice. And so my point is, Taiwan has given us so much heartbreak. So much heartbreak. These talent on paper, as fun as it is to read right now, to watch right now, to think right now, thinking, oh, we're in a group with Czech Republic and Australia. The Czech Republic, look, they're the most fun team to watch unless they're playing us. They're the most fun team to root for. A team of firemen and dentists. I get it. They struck out Shohei Ohtani. They beat China in the previous one. Again, I get it. I get it. They're fun to watch, but man, that gives me PTSD having to face off against the Czech Republic now, and having to face off against Australia, which again we've never had trouble historically, but man, look at what Korea did and what they did to Korea last time, right? And so you're watching all of this stuff, and Korea. Look, no one can convince me. No one, not a single soul is going to sit here and tell me Taiwan's going to walk over Korea. There's no way. There is not a shot. That game is going to be so impactful because at the end of the day, if you look at this group, if everybody's assuming, and Korea, Taiwan is kind of doing that, you're thinking Japan's going to advance no matter what. You're trying to get that second ticket. You have to beat Korea, Australia, and the Czech. You have to finish 3-1, and that game against Korea, and if you're Korea, that game against Taiwan is the destination game. It's like your title game. There's no chance, and you have this rivalry. You have this feeling of you have to win this game or else you're not going to advance. I don't even think we're more talented than Korea. We never had the talent edge over Korea, but even if we did, it's a rivalry game. It's never as far apart besides that one year in 2009. It's never so far apart. Like, think of the rivalry, like the college football rivalry games. Even if one team has the talent edge, it's always 50-50. I'm talking about the most heated rivalry games: Michigan, Ohio State, Texas, Oklahoma, Alabama, Auburn. Look at that, how that game goes every single year. And Alabama has had talent edge for how many years? It's always 50-50. Same with this rivalry. Taiwan, Korea, it's always 50-50. And to be honest, right now, I think 60-40 Korea. And I really hope, I don't know if Korea is trying to play some sort of mind, because based on the reports I've been obviously the translated ones from Korean to Chinese, I'm like, oh, Korea's like, oh, we're not gonna beat, we're really gonna, we don't really know if you're gonna beat Taiwan. What are you talking about? All right, anyway, the roster. So we brought 2, 3, 7, 11. We brought 16 pitchers this time. I think that's a good amount. We have 5 guys from the minor league system. Li Yumin, the starter also in the gold medal game in the Premier 12. Lin Wei-en, Zhuang Chen, Zhong Ao, who both are plays for the A's, the Athletics, not naming a city. Chen Boyu, the AAA for the Pirates. And Sha Zichen, also the single A, high A for the Athletics. Gulin Ruiyang and Sun Yilei comes in from the NPB, from the Nippon Ham. Gulin Ruiyang being the first pitcher export in a long time from the CPBL to the Japanese League last year at the end of 2024. Sun Yilei, the fireball thrower, the flamethrower in Japan, who also, again, my first time watching him, I don't follow a lot of amateur baseball in Taiwan, but my first time watching him was the qualifier last year against Spain when he got us out of that jam in the 7th inning. Shiro Oshii, the most recent export from the CPBL to Japan, now playing for SoftBank, and then Zhang Junwei obviously as well. To be honest, didn't hear of him before today, but he did sign with the SoftBank Hawks, and let's see, he was born in 2005, and let's see, when did he go? He went to he got signed as a developmental player at the end of 2024, and his fastest pitch was 158 kilometers per hour. That's about 99 miles per hour. So exciting stuff. Exciting to see Zhang Junwei again. I'm not a big amateur baseball guy. Never have been. Always more focused on. And I think I think I am similar to a lot of baseball fans. Probably not, just a level below like the not scouts, like the really hardcore guys. But I focused more on the CPBL, the national team, like Zhang Shaoqing, for example. I didn't know about him until the 2019 Premier 12. It's Hu Zhiwei, the same thing. So very exciting stuff. Excited to see Zhang Junwei coming up and supporting this team. Chen Guanyu for the Rakuten Monkeys. Now we're going to the CPBL pitchers. Chen Guanyu for the Rakuten Monkeys. Zhang Yi, or maybe you might know him as Chou Yaku from the Fubon Guardians. Hu Zhiwei, the Uni Lions. Zheng Junyue for the Fubon Guardians. Lin Shixiang for the TSG Hawks, Zheng Haojun for the CTBC Brothers, and you may also know him as Mei Mei, and Lin Kaiwei for the Weichuan Dragons. I'm honestly I'm really focusing on the CPBL core because in this tournament, every single game, you can talk about starters all you want, but you need at least 2 starters to prepare 2 starters for each game, because each pitcher can't throw more than 65 pitches in the first round. So you want to have 2 pitchers that can get you 6-7 innings. Last tournament against the Italians, we had Wang Weizhong and Zhang Shaoqing, 2 of the most talented players at the time, and they only threw like 4 innings. Right, and then you have to somehow find pitches here and there. Now you're not going to find innings. You have to find outs. You have to find pitches, because the pitch count is a hard limit. And against the Netherlands, Wu Zheyuan came in. Oh my God, threw like 5 innings, was as economic as one can be, or 4 innings or something like that. He really saved us because we were going to run out of pitchers. Based on how we were throwing, based on how we were pitching, we were going to really run out of pitchers. And he stabilized that game, kept that game out of reach for the Dutch for a long time. So you look at this roster, this pitching staff, again, top talent-wise, very good. You have Lin Weien, who's a flamethrower. Chen Boyu, who's a flamethrower, and is at AAA right now. You have Lin Yuming, he's not a flamethrower, but he's at AAA right now. Sha Zichen, flamethrower. Gu Linruiyang, a flamethrower. Sun Yilei, a flamethrower. Xu Ruoxi, a flamethrower. You have, 1, 2, 3, and it's Zhang Junwei as well. You have 4, 5, 6, 7 guys that can probably throw upwards of 95 miles per hour. So on paper, we can be very lethal. Our stuff can be very good. But against the likes of Korea, against the likes of Japan, raw talent is not going to get you anywhere. This is not Spain anymore. It ain't Nicaragua anymore. It ain't South Africa. You need to have nuance in there. And I think they do. I hope we do. I haven't seen it personally because I don't watch amateur baseball. I don't watch minor league baseball games. And you're looking at how have they trained in the offseason to get ready? Are they a little late in their timeline to get ready for some high level competition? What are the pitch limits from the teams, from the clubs themselves? I mean, the World Baseball Classic is saying 65 pitches per pitcher, but what if the team comes in and says they can't throw more than 25? Now I'm less worried about the Japanese players coming from Japanese league than the minor league baseball teams. But we do have 5 players from the minor league system. And Li Yumi as well. I'm surprised we have him. But as a player that the Diamondbacks are trying to develop in AAA, how are they going to limit his pitch count? And you can sit here and say, oh, it's not going to be like they really shouldn't do this, or, it's unfair. It's not unfair. Look, Mark DeRosa from the manager for Team USA came out after the 2023 tournament and says that MLB teams told him that especially in the first few games, and that's when the US was struggling, if a pitcher steps up to warm up in the bullpen, they can't sit back down. You have to use them. That is the rules. That is one of the rules that they gave their own team. How do you think they're gonna put the rules on teams that they don't even care about. So that's what I'm worried about. And so that's what I'm looking at these CPBL players, because these are the guys that is really going to do the hard work. Fairly or unfairly, they will be. And Zheng Haojun coming out of Tommy John surgeries 2 off seasons ago. How good will he be? Zheng Junyue, I think he's going to be good, because I actually do think, because I think he wants to really go abroad. This is like his last time that he can showcase in front of the international scouts how good he is. Chen Guanyu, Zhang Yi, Hu Zhiwei, I'm very concerned about. Chen Guanyu, not really, but he's also like 36. The fact that we still need to use him is a little worrisome to me in terms of what kind of depth do we really have. Zhang Yi as well. I mean, look, he kills in the Premier 12, but we've not seen him thrown in a pre-season tournament. He's really good at the Premier 12s. And I think one of the reasons why is it happens after your CPBL or Japanese seasons. His first Premier 12, he was playing in Japan. His second one, he's pitching in Taiwan. Honestly, you look at the entirety of his pitching career. Those innings that he threw in the Premier 12 are the only elite ones that he's really had in his career. Now, is he a national team merchant or is he a Premier 12 merchant? I think there's a very big distinction between the two, because one is preseason, one is postseason. And it's a very big difference. Hu Zhiwei, I'm very concerned about, because I get it, Hong Zipeng is not pitching this year, but you have to go that deep in your pocket to get Hu Zhiwei to pitch. That's a little concerning, because are you going to use him as a starter? You have, if you take the starters from the minor league Japanese team, so you have Lin Yumi, who's a starter. Lin Weien could be a starter. Chen Boyu could be a starter. Gu Ling, Sun Yilei are starters. Gu Ling and Xu Ruoxi are starters. I think Zhang Chen Zhongao is a starter. It was used as a starter. Sha Zichen also a starter. So there you have 7. So you do have 7 starters right now, not counting the CPBL guys, which Zheng Haojun is a starter. So that makes it 8. You have 4 games. You don't need to use Hu Zhiwei as a starter, but again, these are all on the contingency of these minor league players don't have any pitch limits, which I really doubt that's the case. But let's say if they do, then you probably don't need Hu Zhiwei to use as a starter. But what if you do? What if you do have to use Hu Zhiwei as a starter? What you guys are getting, like, I get it. He might be the last pitcher out of the pen, like in terms of like the last player on the bench. And he does have experience. He's never been the same. Never close to the major league level player that we've seen him. So it'll be interesting. Hu Zhiwei, Zhang Yi are very iffy to me. Now, Lin Shixiang, I get it. He's, closer for the TSG Hawks, had a breakout year last year. Bet on him, I would. Lin Kaiwei, I would bet on him too. Really did a really good job in the Premier 12 to close it out, and he did have a lot of experience pitching in minor league baseball, so he's seen different things. I get it, right? And I think Lin Kaiwei, being the relief pitcher, had always been a reliever. It can help. But I just don't know where you put, because Hu Zhiwei is not going to be your closer. Hu Zhiwei is not going to be your backhand bullpen. It'll be interesting. I think it's very interesting, and because if you're using him as a long reliever, like like if all hell breaks loose, you're gonna bring him in like the Panama game last year, then fine. But we really couldn't think of anybody. I guess I can't think right now, but You really couldn't think of anybody else to use in that slot? Maybe he is the best option because he has seen everything and he's worked very closely with Daddy Pai, Lin Yueping. But very interesting. I just think that kind of worries me because you're looking at it, okay, how good depth-wise? All right, you have your 8 starters, and then so outside of 8 starters, let's say Sun Yulei is your reliever, Zhang Junwei is your reliever, Lin Shixiang, I trust him. Like Zhang Junwei, Sun Yulei, and then Chen Guanyu. Those are your top end bullpen. Zheng Junyue is your top. So you have 4 top end bullpen, and then Lin Shixiang, Lin Kaiwei are for me are like B plus guys. Where in the 6th, 7th inning, if you need somebody to bring in, again, I would bring in, if I were Daddy Pai, let's say you were up by 2-0 against Korea in the 6th inning and both of your starters are out, it's 5 innings past, you have to start using your bullpen guys. I would rather start using your top end guys first than having to. I would rather use the top end guys to bridge to the final inning. So then when you use Lin Shixiang, when you lose Lin Kaiwei, when you use Zheng Junyue, that's probably against Australia's, the Czech Republics. Now, Zheng Junyue, I think, can reliably be a reliable, like if things go well and people aren't just messing up like Deng Kaiwei was last time, I think I'm comfortable in sending Zheng Junyue and Lin Kaiwei and Lin Shixiang out there against the Australias and the Czech Republics. And again, I'm thinking, if you've listened to this podcast a lot, I'm more of a pessimistic guy because you're thinking hopefully against the Czech Republics and Australias, your starters that you're sending out there who are the top end guys, assuming there's no pitch limit, can probably give you 6. Right? And so if they can give you 6, you don't need that much of a bridge. And you can probably save some of your top end bullpen guys. But what if your hitters are not hitting and then all of a sudden it's a 2-0 game, a 3-1 game? Will you be comfortable bringing in Zheng Junyue and Lin Shixiang and Lin Kaiwei and not having to use the Sun Yuleis and the Gu Linrui and the Sun Yuleis, the Zhang Junyues, the Chen Guanyu of the world, or the Lin Huiyen, Xia Zichen of the world, right? Would you be comfortable doing that? To me, I'm definitely comfortable putting Zheng Junyue in because I think he's been seasoned enough where he should be able to handle a 7th inning against Australia or Czech Republic when you're up by 3. He should be. If he's not, then he's not going abroad. He's just I hope he is. I think Lin Kaiwei can do it too. Lin Shixiang, I'm kind of I'll be comfortable if it's a 6-1 lead. Not that I'm questioning his talent. I think he's just too young to send him out with a 3-1 lead in a 6th inning against Australia. And it's one of those games you cannot lose. I would rather send Zheng Junyue out there. But if Zheng Junyue is your 2nd-tier bullpen guys, am I comfortable saying them out there against Australia, the Czech Republics in the later innings? Yes. I guess. And then Korea, if it's a 3-1 game in the 6th inning, both of your starters have used up all their pitches, then you bring in the Sun Yuleis, the Zhang Junyues, the Chen Guanyu, right? Maybe you bring another one at the start. Maybe you bring 3. Just the best stuff, guys, right? So I'm really delving into this pitching side because it's a really important puzzle. I love the talent we have on the hitting side, but you look at Team USA, every single time their lineup is crazy good. It's crazy talented. But in 2017, how were they so good? How did they win? It's the back end bullpen guys, the depth guys that held it together for the most part. And you look at Taiwan to be successful. How did we lose in 2023? It was the bridge guys that are not your top end relievers, but your starters flamed out early, gassed out early. That you had to bring in relievers in the fourth and the fifth inning, even the qualifier, same thing. And Daddy Pie was thinking, oh, we have to save the top end bullpen for the seventh, eighth, and ninth. Arguably, makes sense because with the pitch limits, right? So arguably, you have to use your 5th, 6th, 7th best guys out of the bullpen in the early innings, and you're probably down 4-1 against like a Spain or Panama. In this case, it could be down 4-1 against Australia or against Korea, right? And then it's in the fifth inning, you're down by 3. You're like, you send in one of your not the rookie guys. You send in one of your second tier bullpen guys. They're stressed out of their mind because they're thinking, I can't give up a single run right now, because if we do, we're really screwed. And then they throw like they're stressed out, which normally means it's not very good, not very competitive, and then all hell breaks loose. We're down by 10. That's what happened in Panama. In the Panama game, that's what happened in the Cuban game, that's what happened in the Spanish game. That's what happened in the Israel game. That's what happened in the Dutch game. That's what happened in the Korean game as well. Kind of, not really, but that's what that is the formula. That's the losing formula every time. So that's why I'm really delving into how do you bridge the early innings, even just bridging the 6th inning or the 5th inning, because your 2 starters are probably gonna gas out after 5. That's a good case, because remember last World Baseball Classic, we'd send really talented guys that we're thinking as quad A guys, triple A guys, Wang Weizhong, Hu Zhiwei, Zhang Shaoqing. Oh my God, they're gonna take over the world. And then Zhang Shaoqing, Wang Weizhong, the 2 most talented, the 2 most expensive contracts in the history of the CBBL at the time, gave us 4 innings against Italy. 4. And this is not like they just threw 35 pitches and that's it. No, they used up their like 60 pitches. They threw like 50 pitches, both of them, and they gave us 4 innings. So I'm really looking at how you bridge the middle innings right now. And do I trust Ding Shixiang, Zheng Junyue, Lin Kaiwei enough? Because if you really have to go to Zhang Yi and Hu Zhiwei, something's wrong. Now, if something goes very wrong and you have to use Zhang Yi, okay. But you have to use Hu Zhiwei, now we're talking about things going very wrong. And when things go very wrong, can't. Yeah. And knowing Daddy Pie, he likes to budget his arms. He really likes to budget his pitchers. Now, that being said, okay, let's just walk over the hitting side, because like I mentioned earlier, the hitting side is very impressive, but the World Baseball Classic is never about hitting, it's always about pitching. Catcher, you have Lin Jiazheng, who plays for Indie Ball right now, Jiang Shaohong for the Weijing Dragons, and Gili Gao Gongguan. He's basically DH and first baseman, but he's also counting as an emergency catcher. Infielder-wise, you have Wu Nianting, Zhang Yucheng, Wu Nianting for the TSG Hawks, Zhang Yucheng, Yu Cheng for the Fubon Guardians, Zheng Zongzhe, who just got picked up by the Red Sox, Jiang Kunyu for the CTBC Brothers, Li Haoyu for the Tigers, and Jonathan Long for the Cubs in the Cubs AAA. Outfield, you have Chen Jiexian, the Uni Lions, Chen Chengwei, the Rakuten Monkeys, Liang Ke for the Cebu Lions, and Stuart Fairchild for the in the MLB Guardians system. And then you have a utility guy, Lin Ziwei, for the Rakuten Monkeys. By the way, this infield stacked, man. Stacked. It's crazy stacked. Li Hao, I didn't even think Li Hao was going to come back. Zheng Zongzhe, he has to play. He has to come back. I think he's right now like trying to get himself in front of the eyeballs of some guys. Wu Nianting, obviously he's going to play. You played in Japan for the longest time, and normally when you play in Japan, you're going to answer to those calls. Yu Cheng as well, very enthusiastic despite what happened last time, which you can hear. I think it was January 1st of 2023 was my breakdown of some little stuff happening for Yu Cheng and the national team. Jonathan Long, very thank you, by the way. Big thank you. If Fairchild and Jonathan Long, if you're listening for some reason, and by the way, look, I don't want to be like, oh, you should really listen, but like, I'm never gonna be like, oh, these players should really, really listen, but like, Jonathan Long is Fairchild. If any of you knows them, and once any of your audience people knows them, I think my whole mental breakdown, this whole like very really ranty and very unorganized 55 minutes so far volcano talking about the sad history of Taiwanese baseball in the World Baseball Classic, if they need just the littlest understanding of how much we care about Taiwanese baseball, but especially as baseball fans in Taiwan, and then how much we really suffered in the World Baseball Classic, and how much important this is to us, but how much this really is a love-hate relationship. I feel like my TED Talk, very unorganized TED Talk, can be some sort of a window for Jonathan Long and Stuart Fairchild to just take a peek and just to see how. I mean, again, I'm pretty sure the CBBL guys, Commissioner Tai, the global team there in the league, has really been pitching hard about like the honor and how excited Taiwanese fans are about this tournament. But I don't think they mentioned all of the hardships of Team Taiwan in this tournament. I don't think they talked about us being eliminated within 24 hours in 2009, or getting absolutely killed by Japan in 2006, or going against Israel and the Dutch and getting just smacked around by those two teams in 2017 that we just never saw coming, and then also having the highest of highs in 2023, thinking about going to Tokyo and beating Australia, to go to Miami only to lose to Cuba, and then finishing last to having to start in the qualifiers. I think all in all, the torture, not the torture, this is not torture. Sorry, Jonathan Stewart. It's not torture. And if any, no, you're probably not listening anyway, but if you are, it's not torture. We love this team. We love you guys joining this team. We really do. But like, there's a lot here that we put on here. And there's a lot that we put on this team. I just want, for one, to not having to start in the qualifiers for 2029 or 2030 actually. Wow. And just to maybe be respected by the World Baseball. We're justifiably getting the lack of respect. I'm not even saying we should get more respect, because we really don't deserve it, being how bad we are. But just having to come up with a performance that MLB can look at us going, okay, I guess you guys do deserve something more than just, what we have given you. And to be fair to MLB, they don't, I'm just saying, I love this tournament. I really hate this tournament. I've went through a lot. So Stuart, Jonathan, if you're listening, we love this team. We love this World Baseball, but there's been a lot of torture in the middle. So just a little peek into the insecurity of the World Baseball Classic in the eyes of a Taiwanese fan. But man, the infield stacked, outfield very stacked. I mean, Chen Jieshen, Chen Chenwei, Li Anke, Stuart Fairchild. What like how like I haven't like sat down and like think how to come up with the lineup yet, because there really isn't a best lineup. Like you're not gonna please everybody. Look how I mean, Jiang Kunyu, arguably you can argue he has the best defense on this team, but he's not gonna get a spot because of how talented everything around him is. I'm hoping Jiang Kunyu gets to play short because I don't think Li Hao, I mean, I could be wrong. I don't think Li Hao is known for his glove. He's really known for his hitting. Wu Nianting's glove at third base, I think, is pretty good. So how do you move? So it's really a rich people problem. Like, I think Wu Nianting gives you the best defense and offense combination at third. You put Yu Chang at first base because you need his bat. So then you have to it means that you have to put Jonathan Long on DH. Okay? Which means shortstop Zheng Zongzhe or Jiang Kunyu, I think in my opinion, it's really, I don't think either one is better than the other. You can look at like, oh, Zheng Zongzhe is been in the major leagues and he's in AAA. He's definitely more talented. You can argue that. I don't think Jiang Kunyu is worse as a defender. I really don't. And to give you like the stability, right? Second base. If you put Jiang Kunyu at short, you have to. Do you put Zheng Zongzhe at second or do you put Li Hao at second? Can you even put Li Hao at second base? Let me see. Did he play second base? Oh, this is what I mean by it's really fun to look at this infield because it is very it's the most talented we've ever had. If you again talking about a team where Jiang Kunyu is gonna be out of your lineup is crazy. All right, he played second base. Yeah, he does play second base. So, can he play second? You put Li Hao at second? Then Zheng Zongzhe, the one guy that made the major leagues outside of Deng Kaiwei, is really going to be on the bench. So, I guess, yeah. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is a very stacked infield. And it's so stacked that you're going to use one of them at DH. Doesn't matter if it's Li Hao or Jonathan Long or Yu Chang, right? One of those three is going to use DH. It's going to be DH'd. So if you look at the outfield, Chen Jieshen is at center field. No, I don't. Look, Stuart Fairchild, I don't think he plays a lot of center field anymore. But even then, you're not. Chen Jieshen is going to be center field. I'm sorry, right? So Stuart Fairchild goes to right field. Chen Chenwei goes to left field. Then where's Li Anke? Where do you put Li Anke? Are you gonna? You know what? Chen Chenwei could be a very interesting pinch run, a guy on the bench, because he can pinch run for you then. But Chen Chenwei has been very good. Again, a team where Jiang Kunyu and Chen Chenwei are on your bench, that's crazy. That is crazy. That is a roster that you're like, look, I'm not saying we're better than Korea. I started this thing by saying I don't think we're gonna beat Korea, but like playing half court tennis right now and just looking at your roster, my own roster, that's a crazy field. Like, that's a crazy position player side of the roster. Crazy good. I mean, I'm like salivating in terms of like, there's so many combinations and none of them is bad. There isn't a bad combination. And that is the crazy part. And then you bring Lin Ziwei, which I'm like, some people are having problems with that. Look, I just told you, we have 6 infielders right now on paper and 4 outfielders. Any 2 guys who leave on the bench are crazy good. In terms of like, again, there are no wrong combinations. How you play the infield and outfield with even using one of, like, even not using Lin Ziwei as a DH spot, right? So then you're looking at, okay, my final guy, right? Lin Ziwei can play both infield and outfield. Now he did play outfield terribly recently, but he is your guy in terms of he can really support any position. It gives you the most flexibility to play around with your other 10 guys if something goes really bad in terms of like an injury or you're having to double switch. And I even touched on the fact that we have Gili Gao Gongguan, who's going to be a DH unless it's an emergency catching situation, right? So my point is, if you put Gili Gao Gongguan in the group of infield outfield and not counting Lin Ziwei, you have 11 guys to play 8 spots, and you really don't have a bad combination of players in between the 11 for those 8 spots. And then you have one last guy, which is, again, probably your emergency guy. And if you're going to have an emergency guy, you might as well have somebody that can play both ways so that you give the most flexibility. Because, right, like if you need to use the emergency guy, it means that you have now 7 players to play 8 positions, because maybe 3 of them either you have to be double switched out or injuries or whatever the case is. You have 7 players left from the 11 player pool that I mentioned, the 6 infielders, the 4 outfielders, and Gili Gao Gongguan, right? So you have to fill 8 spots. So now, for some reason, you only have 7 players left. Lin Ziwei gives you the most flexibility to maximize the remaining 7 guys, and then you have Lin Ziwei out there being your supportive guy. So I don't have a problem with that. If you really have to use Lin Ziwei, it's probably a very precarious situation. So yeah, on the hitting side, I'm very, very happy about, very, very satisfied with, and I mentioned in my instant reaction tweet, on the hitting side, I'm very surprised at the guys that we got. But it's what worries me. It's never on the hitting side. I mean, we hit so well in 2023, and we didn't have any of these talented guys. I mean, we had Yu Chang, we had Lin Ziwei, but like, who were at the prime of their careers, especially for Yu Chang. And again, it's like, but we hit very well. Chen Chengwei hit very well. Lin Li hit very well. Fan Guochen had an important RBI. Jiang Kunyu hit very well. Chen Jiexian hit very well. It's never about the hitting for us. Even in 2017, you got smacked around by Israel, but we found a way to make it close. We found a way. We actually, I think we tied 9-9 against the Dutch in 2017 as well. In the last game against Korea, we were down like 8-0, and we found a way to tie it up, and then we lost that game. But like, we score a lot. And it's always about the pitching for us, and it's always about the pitching because we have on paper really good top end talent, but we had very little depth. And this year we have a very, very good top end talent. We have okay depth, considering if you put us above the Czech and the Australians, the Czechian and Australians, then yes, I think our depth can be good enough to withstand the first group stage. But this tournament, man, it's given me so much. That's why I really try to break down really hard, because I'm thinking against, let's say you give up that game against Japan, against the Czechians, the Koreans, the Australians. If you're up, okay, let's say if you're down 2-1 in the 5th inning, in the 6th inning, and your starters are gassed, Like gassed meaning like they're out, right? Like because of the pitch limit. And maybe you already used your top end guys. You only have like one left. You have to save for like the 8th or ninth inning, right? It's against Korea. Can you trust Lin Shixiang? Can you trust Zheng Junyue? Can you trust Lin Kaiwei? Can you trust Choyaku? Choyaku, I really don't know. I really don't. Lin Kaiwei, I kind of can. Man, this tournament, man, I've got hurt so much from this tournament. I'm so excited. It's just, the pain of a sports fan. Taking a quick look at the Taiwanese schedule. Is that the first game of the tournament? So the first game of the tournament, the tournament opener, is Taiwan versus Australia on March 5th. Am I on the plane? I think. Oh my god, I'm gonna be on the plane for Taiwan Japan. Oh no. Let me think. Which game? That's morning. Oh, I'll be watching. Oh, I won't be on the plane. I'll be on the plane for a Taiwanese Czech game though. But that's going to be brutal. That's really a make or break game. We play Australia first on March 5th, the Thursday at noon local time. I think that's around like 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. our time. Maybe like 11. I don't know. I either go. I don't know which way to go, but that's important. That is so important. You have to win that game. You have to send all of your guys out to that game. Best guys. I don't care. You beat Australia. Don't embarrass yourself. Beat Australia. Don't embarrass yourself. Just don't pan them out this game. Please just send. Daddy Pie, if you're listening, send your best guy, please. Okay. Beat Australia, hopefully. You go against Japan in the next day. Now, what happens in between will be very interesting. You're thinking Korea can beat the Czechians. And then Australia now, if they're 0-1, they have to beat the Czech Republic. But if they don't, now Australia is in the trouble. Czech is 1-1. Korea is 1-1. Korea is 1-0, right? So, well, the two games, depending on how that works out, I don't think Korea is going to lose to the Czechians in the first round. In the first game of the tournament, dude, that will not happen. Especially with how the Czechians played last year in the last tournament. I think he's happy. He's there on people's radar. The Czechians, Australia, I think Australia, depending on how they play the Taiwanese game, because actually no, Australia has an off day the following day, so they should send out their best against the Czechians, so they can get at least one win, and they would be, if they lose to Taiwan in the first game, they beat the Czechs. Now they're 1-1, and they still have a mathematical shot. So they should go out there, send their best against the Czechians, and the Czechians obviously have to do the best as well if they lose to Korea. So that will be an interesting game. And then now Taiwan against Japan. I don't want to say I don't want to say I don't want to win this game. But there's no off day for us in this tournament. We go back to back to back to back. And the problem with this Japanese game is that's a night game, and the following game is a noon game. So you really don't have a lot of time for recovery. So right now you're just hoping whoever we send out there on the pitching side, get as many outs as you can. I don't care if you give up 5 runs, Just whichever in your pitching limit, whoever we send out there. First of all, you obviously are trying to win, but the main objective is to get out. Just get out of that game. Hopefully, it's a 2-hour game, which won't happen because this is against Japan. And you get home, take a break, go sleep, get up, get ready, beat the check-ins, and the check-ins are gonna send their best. They're not gonna go away. They're not just gonna lay down and lay flat. They tied against Taiwan in the first game of the warm-up series between Taiwan and the check-ins pre-Premier 12, by the way. So they're not just a whatever team. Now, next game is Korea. That Korea Japan on March 7th. That will be that would be maybe 2 1-0 teams going at it. Now, if you're Korea, again, I get it. Like, I get it. If you're Korea, like, you might think, oh, we should probably throw this game like Taiwan is thinking, and then, whatever. But like, and then, save your best against Taiwan. But man, like, if Korea wins this game, that effectively eliminates Taiwan, I think, because Korea's gonna go into the. Oh no, Taiwan has to beat Korea now. But like, if Korea beats Japan, they're 2-0, and they just have to win one of the next 2 games. One of them is against Taiwan, another is against Australia. So if let's say they're up 4-0 in the 3rd inning, do you not send your best? Because what's happening recently between Korea and Japan, they're always up early and then Japan comes back. But like, if you're up 4-0 in the 4th inning, do you not send your best relievers out there for the 4th, 5th, and 6th? Because if you beat Japan, you're 2-0. And now Japan is the one that has to look at it and go, oh, we have to finish 3-1. And then if they, and then now Taiwan will be in big trouble. Because then Taiwan has nowhere to go besides having to beat Korea. The one thing going for us against Korea is that we're up. We would be, Korea will be coming right off against Japan the night before. So they have a night game to a noon game, and then they're obviously the second game is against Taiwan. So that's advantageous for us. But man, like, if you're Taiwan, man, like, if you're Korea, you're in a precarious spot. You let's say you beat the check-ins in game 1. You go into Japanese game. You're very well rested, but you have 2 monumental games within 24 hours. Actually, no, within like 20 hours. You have 2 games, one against Japan, one against Taiwan. You have to win at least one of them. So if you're 4-0, if you're up, let's say 4-0, 4-0 in like the 4th inning, how do you play it out? Do you roll the dice and you send your best guys out? And then obviously you run it up again. So again, in terms of the Taiwanese schedule, we played Australia in game 1 at noon local time. Second game is the night game against Japan. Then a night game goes straight into a noon game right after that against the check-ins, and then against Korea, 24 hours afterwards. So yeah, if any of you know any of these guys, any of you knows the Stuart Fairchild or Jonathan Long, I think, and this is a very long episode, very long, 1:18. It's a long episode again. I'm sorry, but it's that time of the 4-year cycle. I'm ready to get hurt again. I'm ready to be hurt. I'm not ready to be hurt again. But oh, come on, please don't hurt me. Please, 2-2. 2-2 is okay. Beat the check-ins. Beat the teams you're supposed to beat. Korea, roll the dice. Japan, roll the dice. But don't stop losing to teams we're not supposed to lose to. Please. Just pretty please. That's all like last time, all I care about is beat Panama. In 2017, before the thing, I didn't know about the opening up nationality stuff. So I was like, just beat Israel. Man, we got smacked around by Israel. We got smacked around by Panama. Thank you for listening to this episode of Rants with Danny Shi. Today is February 7th in New Jersey, Central New Jersey, and we'll see you guys next time.